Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to our MDKit preparatory class. Today we are going to learn about the rules to use a comma. We have multiple rules to use comma. The first rule is use a comma in a list of words. These words may contain nouns, pronouns, adjectives, etc. We have some sentences here. He went to Poland, Hungary, and Romania. Here are three countries described. They are nouns, and I have put a comma between Poland and Hungary here, and in the last we have and here. In American English, we can put a comma here also, but in British English, we are not to put any comma here. Here is an example of three pronouns used in the sentence. We have three pronouns, you, he, and I are prepared to appear in the text. So when we look at the sentence, there is a comma between you and he, and there is and between he and I. We have the third sentence here. She was a young, tall, and beautiful lady. Likewise, I have put a comma between young and tall, and between tall and beautiful there is and. As I already told you that in American English we can put a comma here. Now we come to the second rule to use comma. Put a comma before coordinating conjunctions when it joins two independent clauses. The independent clause are called those clauses when they are separated from the sentence, they make their own sentence and they stand by own. So when we use a coordinating conjunction to join two independent clauses, then we have to put a comma here. We have two examples here. She wanted to buy some chocolates, but all the shops were closed. Now we look at the sentence. We have an independent clause. She wanted to buy some chocolates. It's an independent clause. If we separate it from the rest of sentences, it makes its own sense and it is a complete sentence. So this is an independent clause. But all the shops were closed, but is a coordinating conjunction here. And the second clause, that is also an independent clause, all the shops were closed. Now when we join both the clauses by any coordinating conjunction, then we have to put a comma before that conjunction. We have another sentence here. You may wait here or you can stroll in the park. So here we have also two clauses. Both are independent clauses. The first is you may wait here. To be separate from the rest of the sentence, it makes its own sense and it is a complete sentence. You may wait here. And the other clause is also independent clause. You can stroll in the park, and we have joined both the clauses by or, but we have to put a comma before or here. There are some coordinating conjunctions which we have to learn, and they are usually learnt by an acronym. We have an acronym here, fanboys. In fanboys, all the coordinating conjunctions are described here. F stands for, A stands for, and N stands for, nor, B stands for, but, O stands for, or, Y stands for, yet, and S stands for, so. So these are fanboys. Fanboys means all the coordinating conjunctions which we can use to join two independent clauses are described here. You can remember them by remembering this acronym. Now the third rule of using a comma is place a comma after subordinate clause. There are some sentences where we have some subordinate clauses, just like here are two examples. Because he was much exhausted, he could not attend the party. Now we see that He could not attend the party is an independent clause. But here is another clause, because he was much exhausted. Now, because he was much exhausted is a dependent clause, is a subordinate clause. If in a subordinate clause we have a conjunction used in the beginning of the sentence, then when the subordinate clause ends, we have to put a comma here. But when we have a subordinate conjunction in the middle of the sentence, we don't have to use any comma here. Another use of comma is put a comma before and after the word or expression that is not grammatically connected to the rest of the sentence. We can find many sentences in English where some expressions or some words are in the middle of sentence that are not grammatically connected to the rest of sentence. They are additional information. So we put two commas there. First, before starting of that expression and in the end of the expression. We have an example here. My brother who lives in Karachi is visiting us next week. Now the actual sentence is my brother is visiting us next week, but we have some additional information here, that is who lives in Karachi, and it tells us about my brother. So it is an additional information about my brother. It is not concerned to the rest of the sentence. So we have to put a two commas here, and it is kept in between of these two commas. That is who lives in Karachi, a comma in the beginning and comma in the end. Now we come to the fifth rule, that we have put two comma in indirect speech. Indirect speeches are usual in English. So we have to put a comma after the reporting verb when it is in the beginning. He said, "You are my best friend." Now look here that we have put a comma here after the reporting verb, and then it is the direct speech described here. But sometimes we have a direct speech in the beginning, and the reported verb is in the end of the sentence. In this case, we have to put a comma in the direct speech. Look, here is the difference. Here we have put the comma after the reporting verb. It is not in the direct speech. But here, when the reporting verb is in the end, we put a comma in the indirect speech when the sentence is at its end. We can place a comma in the numbers, and the numbers contain three numbers, group of three numbers. So look here, 992, we put a comma here, 041, we put a comma here, 322, we put a comma here. It is normal in English that we put after three numbers a comma in between the other numbers. But when we have only four numbers, then we can put a comma here, or if we do not put a comma, it is also correct here. Put a comma when we describe day, month, date, and year. So look here, we have an example here that as he was born on Monday, July 25th, 2024, then we have to put a comma after the date and after the month and date, and in the end we have to put a full stop here. We can also place a comma between the names of the city or town and the name of the state or province or the country. We have a sentence here, she was born in Karachi, Pakistan. Karachi is the name of city and Pakistan is our country. Now we have to separate them. We have to put a comma after Karachi, and then we have to write Pakistan. Akbar Ligari came from Hala, Sindh. Here we have an example that here is the town described here, Hala, and Sindh is a province of Pakistan. We have to separate them, marking a comma here between Hala and Sindh. We have another rule to use a comma, that is Introductory words are expressions when they are in the beginning of the sentence, we put a comma there. Just like here is a sentence, sorry, I'm late. So we have to put a comma before, after, sorry, and then we continue the sentence. We may have some expressions that are phrases or clauses, just like we have a clause here, if you don't mind, you are very sluggish. We look at this clause that it's almost a complete sentence, but as it is introductory, so we have to put a comma here. If you don't mind, comma, you are very sluggish. There is another rule to use a comma in question text. We have many sentences in which we find question text. So we have a sentence here. I think you like fish, comma. Do you? Do you is a question tag. In conversation and in writing also, we use question tags, but we have to put a comma between the rest of the sentence and the question tag. We can also put a comma in apposition, appositives. Just like we have a sentence, Vladimir Lenin, comma, Russian leader, comma, was born in Simbris. So this is appositives, Vladimir Lenin. This is an additional information about Vladimir Lenin, and we have to put two commas here, first in the beginning and the second in the end of the sentence. So these are called appositives. So this is the end of the rules. We have to use comma according to the rules described here. Thank you very much.